नरेंद्र मोदी को पहले फिलिप कॉटलर प्रेसिडेंशियल पुरस्कार से नवाजा गया है। यह पुरस्कार 3 आधार रेखा पीपल, प्रॉफिट और प्लैनेट यानी लोग, मुनाफा और धरती पर केंद्रित है। यह पुरस्कार प्रत्येक वर्ष किसी देश के नेता को दिया जाता है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has received the first ever Philip Kotler Presidential Award. The award focuses on the triple bottom line of people, profit and planet.
Hello viewers, right now I am in a conversation with a legend. All of you must be knowing that with whom I'm going to start few words, few couple of marketing topics, few couple of his journey, things. You must be knowing who is the father of marketing, and that legend is on our Raunak podcast, and he is going to educate thousands of people, thousands of marketing professionals, thousands of readers, marketing aspirant leaders. He has already inspired millions and billions of populations so far across the world, I would say, and he has written a lot of books on marketing. All are best selling, and 60 to 70% universities has incorporated his books in their colleges, in their syllabus. What would I say? I mean, the legendary podcast this is going to be. So first of all, thank you so much from the core of my heart, Kotler sir, to take out your precious time to be on the show. So without delaying a single second, I would like to start and begin the conversation with a question that Kotler sir, when I posted on my Instagram, there are thousands of followers. I posted that Kotler, Mr. Philip Kotler, the father of modern marketing, who has revolutionized the country in the realm of marketing and all. The first question everyone wanted to ask you, which is how all this started. I mean, what is your journey? How all this started? When did you start, learning? And also, please share a few couple of things on your journey, right? Yes, sir.
Well, I was trained at MIT as a economist. When I was invited to teach at Northwestern University, I was asked whether I wanted to teach economics or marketing. And I said, well, if I teach economics, I'll teach what already is written by so many people.
Right.
But if I teach marketing, since it doesn't have enough shape to it, enough foundation, it would be better for me to teach marketing and learn how to make it more of a science. We know it's an art, but we want to make it more of a science. And so the Northwestern University said, great, we have a good marketing group anyways, but by adding you, we hope that we can make a big movement in the understanding of marketing. And ever since being at the Northwestern University, I was joined by wonderful colleagues. One of them is Jerry Zaltman, with whom I wrote a book on social marketing, which was a whole new idea. Professor Sidney Levy was there, and I wrote with him the whole idea of broadening marketing to cover more than just commerce. It could cover every organization, because even a small company or a private group may want to know how to get more members, right, how to get them to pay regular dues. So we broadened marketing. So I was fortunate to not have the burden of expanding marketing as a science left just to me, but to have wonderful colleagues to work with.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. And sir, you are running a huge organization. World Marketing Summit. You are a chairman of that. You have organized a lot of summits in various countries. So how did this idea cracked that actually I should take this initiative towards marketing and all. So.
Well, I worked with Dr. Fahim Kibria,
Mm,
who had arranged a number of sessions for me around the world, particularly in India, Egypt, Russia, many locations. And we began to realize that maybe we should have a period where we invite 100 different marketers from a huge number of countries
mm,
to share what's on their mind about marketing. And we did that for a number of years. And it was exciting because we were hearing new ideas,
mm,
because marketing cannot be only the American type of marketing.
right.
We have to acknowledge that it's a subject that where the basics are the same, but the application is different everywhere it's used.
Right. Exactly, sir. Very amazing. And sir, when I have actually collected few questions from the viewers that people want to ask that you have introduced concepts like marketing 3.0, 5.0. If you were now to define marketing 6.0, then what would it look like? I mean, how would you define
Sure.
it for example, Gen Zs, right, in the era of
Well,
AI, climate change, right?
Well, here's the thing. Let's remember that marketing as a science
Mm,
is going to be recognized for its changes over time. In fact, if you take marketing 1.0 all the way to 6.0, we created a record of the changes that took place. For example, we wrote 5.0 to acknowledge how technologies have been changing so much that marketing changed it with new technologies. Now you ask about 6.0. What we're recognizing in 6.0
mm,
is that immersion and metaverses,
mm,
brand new ideas are taking place. For example, let's say we sometimes talk about the following contrast. Do you want real reality or augmented reality, or do you want virtual reality?
mm,
Example, suppose I take you and put you and I show you a car that exists. And then I say to you, what do you think of the car? And you say, you like that car. And I said, you know what? I can create a picture of you in the car.
mm,
Now, that is a matter of augmenting reality. The car exists.
right.
Now, instead, I'd say, we have created a new kind of car that doesn't exist.
Mm,
It's only virtual,
mm,
but I can put you and your picture driving the car. So I'm therefore creating a virtual reality.
mm,
I didn't just take a car that existed and augment it. I now created a picture, a photograph of you driving a car that doesn't exist.
right.
Now, that brings the idea of a metaverse.
Mm,
And the ultimate idea of a metaverse is you've created a world that is artificial from the beginning. It's only virtual. And I was a member of such a world called it was I forget exactly the name, but I would put a certain costume on so they didn't know who I was, and I would meet people, and I didn't know who they actually were, but we would talk anyways,
mm,
and I could buy and sell things in this virtual world, and
mm,
there was an exchange currency that had no value in the real world,
right.
but in the virtual world. So I've been in a metaverse, and there are some that are created.
Mm,
They're not that popular yet, but marketers believe that you could do a lot of testing in a multiverse, in a metaverse, by seeing how people
mm,
actually buy and sell and
right.
talk about a new product or a project or something. So that new book also 6.0 mentions that we're going to be as marketers dealing with multi senses and multiple senses, not just reading and writing, but also touching and feeling and so on.
Right.
Sounds. Maybe television eventually will be more than just viewing.
No caller.
Excuse me, it's a call that I'm canceling. Anyways, 6.0 is very interesting in capturing the multi-sensory world we're in and the immersive things we can do. One example more would be a woman wants to buy a very expensive dress and she's even afraid to put it on. We say you don't have to put it on. We could put it on your body and you will see how you look with
How
that
you
dress
look.
on.
Right, right.
So that's augmenting the reality. So please read 6.0 for more. But go back to 1.2 and the other ones just to see how marketing has progressed.
Exactly, exactly. And sir, you are doing very fantastic thing in the realm of virtual reality. People can see themselves in like in real, like like you have just interpreted an example that if a man wants to buy a car, then he can see himself in the car. Prior to buy to actually acquiring this, to prior to buying this. So very interesting, the concept it is
Sure.
marketing, and it is going
Well,
to
every new product should be made as a concept
concept.
before it's actually produced in a factory. You don't want to waste your money.
Right.
See if the virtual version of the car is so exciting to people that you should invest in making it in the factory.
Agreed, agreed, agreed. Completely agreed, sir. Yeah, it is going to revolutionize again in the realm of digital marketing, AI, climate change. So wonderful thing. And Kotler, sir, you have inspired millions, right? If your legacy was to be distilled into one principle, right, that every future marketers must remember, then what would be that one line, right? If you'd say.
I would say that serving others is the secret of happiness and well-being for you. Serving others. Now, did we ever get that message before? Yes, many times. Let's
Mm,
start with Christianity. Christianity and is really love of your fellow men
right.
and women. Let's be comprehensive.
Mm,
And then humanism, when some people were not particularly religious, they took the essence of Christianity, which
mm,
is love of others, and we call it humanism. And it includes the love of democracy by definition, because by loving people, you want their lives to be better. So
right.
you love a system called democracy, which
Mm,
gives them the power to determine what they want out of
exactly.
life.
Freedom, right.
And then capitalism is not necessarily about love, although it is about making products that meet needs. But I
Mm,
would distinguish between free capitalism, normal capitalism, and Nordic capitalism. Nordic capitalism says what's really basic
mm,
is not just satisfying the needs for an appetite or some food. How about satisfying have people who want to go to college and to have a chance to afford going to college? How about them having health all the time, free health care? So there's another, taking this from your starting point,
right.
serving others will not only help those others, it will help you live a more fruitful life.
Fantastic thing. And actually, viewers can really relate to this. When I brought Dave Ulrich, sir, the father of modern HR, he also mentioned that we should serve others. Then serving others means serving yourself, in a way, the happiness, right?
Yeah.
So we will get really gratified or actually satisfied by helping, by serving, by actually creating change. So that is
The point is that most people know what it means to satisfy others when they
mm,
just think of their family. It's very natural.
right.
But if they stop at that point, only their family should be satisfied,
Mm,
then they miss the point.
right.
How about caring about the world and its shape and its level of satisfaction? And now we're able to measure for different countries. We could say which country is the happiest one in the world.
Mm,
Which company has the most well-being? Very interesting, by the way. Finland is the happiest country, but
right.
Norway has the most well-being.
Right. That is. And Kotler, sir, you have explained everything very practically. If God assigned you the task to rebrand humanity as a species, right? So it's a story, values, and actually promise. And how would you, the marketer, the Philip Kotler of the world, would try to actually position it? What would be?
I would say that I would want to do whatever is possible to build character in people. Character. I would like to see character built into their mindset.
Right.
Namely, they have a rational mindset rather than a spirit than a one that is just made up of all kinds of images, but rational behavior. Their heart would be also have character, feeling, empathy. Their willpower would have character. They know they shouldn't be smoking or doing things that are harmful to you.
Right.
So they have the willpower to give that character. And I would say that their whole soul would be based on morality. In other words, they would come from a moral background that they apply in all of their decision making.
Right.
Well, not many people have character in all these senses of the mind, the heart, and the soul.
Right. Very practical thing you have mentioned, sir, that you should be ethical, right? With morals, with a nice character. That is one. What part of your work do you hope future marketers 100 years from now still debate rather than just blindly follow it? What do you think?
Well, I would want to see two changes. One is about what is the essence of the concept of exchange. Exchange is when two or more people, trade values, bundles of value. Now, in doing a trade, one result and the best result would be both parties are better off.
Right.
They were free to say yes or no. They made their decision, and whatever it was, both are satisfied. The worst kind of exchange is called win-lose. One person wins, the other loses.
Right.
And I would argue that exchanges that are win-lose exchanges degenerate into lose-lose in the end. In other words, even the winner who thought he took more advantage of the other person, it will come back to him and hurt him. So we need a better concept of what is fair exchange. It's win-win exchange, both win. The second thing that I would change in the future is the terrible bad distribution of income and wealth. It is unjustified for a few people to have billions and billions of dollars and other people without food,
Right?
without shelter.
Starving.
And we're always bothered, but we don't do anything about that. How about a law that calls for a wealth tax, not only an income tax, but a wealth tax? Because there are some people who were fortunate and discovered certain things and created some wealth. But I'm not saying you take away their wealth immediately, but with a wealth tax, you draw down their wealth. In fact, we might even say no one should be allowed to have more than $1 billion. Now, take, for example, the famous person who ran the stock market, and not the guy known and loved for the way he handles Warren Buffett, the way he handled his company, where he took something that he paid, the first stock he bought was about $100. Now it's $185,000 a share, you know.
Right.
Warren Buffett said this: I only want to take from my business $100,000 a year. Although I'm making much more money for everyone, but that's all I want to take. I want to have just a small car. I want to stay in the home I bought 50 years ago.
Right.
And I don't want to be incredibly wealthy. So the question is, can we cap wealth so that no one goes around with so much power and so much money while so many other people are desperate?
Very practical.
And income distribution are two issues I'd like to see understood better.
Very practical thing you have mentioned, sir. And sir, in this era now in 2025, you have given a principle of marketing like 4Ps: price, place, promotion, and actual product. But now, if you can share the actual practical and proven formula for all the marketing leaders, then how, and actually what would you suggest them? Like what are the principal core things to keep always in mind about marketing, right?
Well, what you're talking about are the tools of marketing. We call
Hmm.
them the marketing mix, the
Marketing
four
mix.
P's. They don't all have to be P's, but they started that way: product, price, place, and promotion. I expanded that to seven, but
Hmm.
they're not all with a P, because I felt you should make a distinction, first of all, between product and service. It's not
Product.
enough to say you're managing product.
Right.
Most of the world's economy
Hmm.
are making services more than products.
Right.
I mean, and I'm not talking about getting a haircut or
Hmm.
buying some stock, but services are very important. So let's say that even a product must have good service with it. The
Service.
next thing is, besides talking about the product, talk about the brand.
Hmm.
The brand is either a product is not well branded or confusedly branded, or it's well branded.
Hmm.
So building a brand and keeping it alive and well is another part of the marketing mix. And then I like to change from the word promotion to the idea of what is called the communication mix.
Hmm.
The communication mix, which includes promotion, but all kinds of communications.
Right.
And then finally, I'd like the things where we call place, which we meant by that channels of distribution. Why don't we just call that the distribution mix? Where can you put your product so it's available to people
Right.
easily? So now that's seven terms. It's the four plus three more, like service,
Hmm.
brand, and well, seven. But they're not all with a P. But the truth is, any company may find 10 variables
Hmm.
that make up its marketing plan that they have to set. And I think marketing mixes are going to be pretty, not fixed, but individuated for the situation.
Right. Exactly. A very practical thing you have mentioned, that service and distribution. These are should be the things which people should keep in mind. And Kotler sir, you have always emphasized social good. Should marketing now have a moral compass, and if so, then how would we measure ethical ROI? What do you think?
Well, we believe that people um, judge companies not just for the product performance or the service performance, but is it a company that has a set of values that are respectable values, that are like your values?
Mm.
Does a company careful? Is it a company that's polluting the air, or making sure that it minimizes any pollution and there's no pollution coming from that company? Um, we want companies to take some responsibility for their output. If they're generating a lot of bad things, they should be doing this. If they cannot avoid the bad things, they should price high enough
Right.
so that they earn enough to cover the cost of the bad things that they're producing. And
Mm.
if no one buys the product, then they don't want that product to be existing with all the bad things.
Right.
Now, let's even be more specific.
Mm.
What about two questions every marketer should decide on?
Mm.
What products would I be willing to sell? And two, how would I be willing to sell it? In what way? I personally have been asked to help sell cigarettes. I say no. Uh, Drugs, I say no. These alcohol, I say no. Uh, so every company should decide what its no's are, the things that won't sell. But even in accepting something to sell, like cigarettes, how are you going to do it? Are you going to say, "Oh, this creates better health"? That's a lie.
Right.
And when women never smoked before, men did the smoking,
Right.
and the cigarette industry had to figure out how to get women to smoke.
Mm.
They made it a glamorous thing.
Right. Glamorous.
No, marketing has great responsibility, because marketing is not just meeting a need, it is shaping the needs. It's shaping, it gets you to want to be seen with a cigarette as a woman. So basically, we know that markets are shaped by marketing. Marketing shapes lifestyles,
Right.
and therefore ought to be more responsible in how it is creating life for people? What kind of lifestyles are being created?
Right. Very practical example you have mentioned about marketing, that that nobody can promote it by saying that it will enhance your health, right? So a very very practical thing. And Kotler sir, if a young student 50 years from now picks up a dusty book of yours and actually finds your name, that marketing management is actually written by the father of digital marketing, modern marketing, Kotler sir, what feeling do you hope steers in him, in their heart, and what action do you hope that they should take? What do you think?
Well, okay. If someone finds a dusty old copy of a book I wrote,
Yeah,
I hope it's not Marketing Management 1967, the first edition, because it would not mention so many things that are important. I hope that the dusty copy is the
yeah,
17th edition that exists now.
exists
And
now.
the main reason I
Mm,
want the 17th edition is not only does it capture everything now,
mm,
but it even has built in AI, which is creating a whole revolution in the
right,
productivity,
right.
how you can be so much more productive
Mm,
in designing copy, in identifying the very best prospects for buying a product with AI,
mm.
that I want them to find a dusty old copy, 17th edition, that brought in the importance of AI and
Mm.
Chat GPT. Thank you
ChatGPT.
very much.
Incredible thing. I mean, and sir, I was researching about marketing management. It is just recently, the 19th or 16th version has been launched in India. Previous year, I think. Right.
Well, I hope the 17th edition is
17th edition.
already
17th
in use.
edition. Last year
That is the
in
latest one, yes.
yeah. It is a latest
But
one.
I am working on a new book which expands the whole concept of marketing.
Uh,
It makes it much richer and multiple in its nature than
uh,
simply a commercial subject. I
uh,
can't say more about it, but it will be known in about a half a year. What I consider a re-expansion of the whole notion of marketing.
so viewers, Kotler sir, Philip Kotler, the father of modern marketing, has just mentioned that in just half an year, a new book to enhance marketing is actually very recent,
I,
and it is
yeah,
on the verge of launching.
I'll just give you one word. It's
Hmm.
called the pivotal marketing.
Pivot,
Pivotal,
pivot
like
marketing.
a pivot,
Pivot.
pivotal marketing. And by that, it embraces many more concerns about
Hmm.
what marketers should be doing than simply 4 Ps.
Simply put, is exactly so. And sir, one last question, because as we are just going to wrap up the your podcast, sir. Actually, you are leading your company, your organization, your World Marketing Summit, your books and all. What are the few leadership qualities you really believe, without saying that these are the authenticity or actually integrity, which are just written theoretically or available? How, I mean, what do you really feel that actually these are the traits that leaders should incorporate in them, right?
True leaders have open minds, not
Mm,
closed minds. That is, they do critical thinking about what they're doing. They don't do things out of rote memory and behavior. For example, I wrote a book called Entrepreneurial Marketing.
mm,
And in that a book that has been very well received, we make a distinction between the professional marketer and the entrepreneurial marketer. The
mm,
professional marketer is someone we have great respect for because he or she knows all the methods and ways to influence people,
right.
but doesn't create any new ways. I mean, they're just working off of their professional understanding of the
Yeah,
field. An
agreed.
entrepreneurial marketer
Mm,
invents new things. For example, whoever, do you know today, if I needed a hotel, there's many hotels I can go to, but
mm,
someone thought of a getting private homes to offer a bedroom for a night. and pay for it. The whole idea entrepreneurially
Right.
is why should I be stuck only with hotels, which are all pretty routine? They're expensive and they're not different.
Not
When I could have a stay at someone's home, have breakfast with them or
Right.
by myself, and created the ABM, I forget what you call it, and so on. So basically, in entrepreneurial marketing, I talk about the need to have your staff of professional marketers to add one or two entrepreneurial marketers to even question the way they proceed to build the market. And these are the people who will come out with new networks,
New
new
networks.
expansions,
Right.
new businesses. Someone said to me, your business should have two rooms. One room is where you make your present products. The other room is where you create the new products to be offered next.
Right.
That's the entrepreneurial room.
Marketers.
A
Very.
company like Samsung, not right after they make another cell phone, a
Right.
perfectly new cell phone, they're already working on replacing it in the other room.
The other room. Right.
Okay.
Very practical thing you have mentioned about entrepreneurial marketers and leadership traits. So if I need to wrap this conversation for for the viewers, then viewers, I would say this is a very phenomenal questions. I mean, whatever the questions we have discussed about marketing, about leadership, and Philip Kotler's new coming book in just in around a half an year. So very interesting podcast, sir, and thank you so much again from the core of my heart. And sir, how many times you have been in India? I guess more than 50 times.
I've been there at least 7 times.
Oh.
And every time is wonderful. I have a lot of friends in India. I keep in correspondence with some of my friends. I'm very happy to know that India is now going to do what China did earlier, become a manufacturing center.
Right.
And become and every sign is their economy will grow faster than before, which makes it very exciting because we need alternatives to China
Right.
in the production of mass goods, and India has a great opportunity to do
Great.
that.
Huge.
Very smart people can be found in India all the time. In fact, unfortunately, we took away a lot of your smart people. They're in the United States, but wherever they are making contributions.
Yeah, lot of
And I
contribution.
want to thank you for initiating this talk, and thank you for your questions. They were very interesting and out of the normal type of questions, which is fine because
Yeah.
we don't think of questions like that very often. So good luck in any podcasting work you continue to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, and thanks from all the thousands of viewers who are actually watching you. All this podcast is going to really revolutionize the actually the bidding mind, the aspiring minds. So thank you so much, sir, from the core of my heart to take out your time again. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Take care, sir.